Up like the live. Okay, here we are. Hey everybody, welcome to the channel. Today I am joined by my friend Cami from Let's Oh, whoops. Okay, now we're live. I
Oh,
just told you I screw this up every time. Hello everybody. Thank you for joining us today. We are very excited to talk about King of Kings, the newest retelling of Jesus's story in animation. I have the pleasure of being joined by my friend here. Let's tune in, Cami.
hello.
How are you doing today so far?
Doing great. Fantastic.
Good.
Yeah.
Is it 9 p.m. where you are right now?
It is 9:01. Yep.
Okay. All right. We're on the same time zone. Pretty cool. I think I've had a good day. It's been a busy day. And I'm excited to talk about this because you know, I went in with very, very high expectations. Very high expectations. And you'll find out if those expectations were met or not by the end of the stream. But if you guys aren't too familiar with this film, King of Kings, it's made by Angel Studios. I'll put up a picture right here. And yeah, it's animated. It has this beautiful animation here, and we're gonna get into the style a little later on. It has an interesting premise. It's not simply just coordinating and going through the series of events of Jesus's life. There's like an outer layer to all of it. Come
No.
on, Cammy. You
I
said
know. I
no.
know.
You said no dogs. Yeah, there's an outer layer to this whole story that's pretty interesting. We are narrated by Charles Dickens here. He's the older guy up there with the beard, and his family. Kevin Branagh, I believe that's his name. Kevin Branagh. He's voicing Charles Dickens, and Uma Thurman is his wife in this, which is real interesting. And oddly enough, the young man actor who played Jojo Rabbit, he is the voice actor of the child, which is super weird because that actor is he's like 18 now, but he still sounds like he's like 5 years old. So that was kind of a fun fact I learned. But yeah, we're taken through Jesus's story through the narration of Charles Dickens, and you're probably wondering why on earth is that the case? This is an odd idea. And when I watched the movie, I didn't really understand why this was a central theme, a central element that guided the story. And I looked into it, and it turned out that Charles Dickens, this film is based off of a story that he wrote, and it was called, let me see, what is it? Life of Our Lord, the story of Jesus Christ, written in a fashion for easy understanding for his children. He pretty much summarized a lot of the central themes, elements, and miracles, stories, and trials and tribulations that Jesus went through. And he condensed it, and he made it a little bit more understandable for his children to pick up on it. And he highlighted a lot of the humble circumstances of the nativity. He went through a lot of the main events of Jesus's story, which were pretty exciting. And you would think that it would be like too much to handle, because this film, we are introduced to a lot of a sizable portion of Jesus's story from the Bible. The film covers the miracle of the multiplying of fish and bread, the story of when Jesus walked in the water during the storm, the Last Supper, Jesus's baptism by John the Baptist, the time that he healed the blind man, the other miracle that he had healing the paralyzed man on the stretcher when they lowered the stretcher from the rooftop into the house that he was in. They also covered the temptation in the desert by Satan, and we also saw an exorcism from Jesus. And we also covered his younger life as well, as a young man preaching in the temple. We see the crucifixion. We see the agony in the garden. I mean, they cover a lot of ground here. And I guess, Cammy, right off the bat, did you think that it was too much? Because I mean, I think for me, when I saw this film give us little doses of all these stories, I didn't feel overwhelmed. I felt pretty comfortable, and I think they gave us a comfortable taste of everything to a level where it was more surface. It was more surface level. They couldn't go too deep into each one of the stories, which I think do require a deeper retelling. But what are your
Yeah.
thoughts?
Yeah. Well, first of all, I didn't know that this was based off Charles Dickens, him writing that story, because they really played that into the movie and the message came across. So that was great. But I was wondering how many stories they were actually going to tell, and if they were going to lead up and do his crucifixion and all those things. I was like, I wonder how much they're going to cover here. But they really covered a lot, and I didn't think it was too much. I was thinking about the kids in there and like how they were taking it in, but I thought it was well done in the execution.
Yeah, I think at first, so like right off the bat, we're thrown into this story with Charles Dickens. He's doing a live dramatic reading of A Christmas Carol, which Charles Dickens, he's famous for creating A Christmas Carol with Scrooge, old Scrooge. He also, let me see, I have a list. Charles Dickens, he's written a lot of like really famous materials. Yeah, A Christmas Carol, Oliver Twist, and David Copperfield. Those are like his big names as an author. And of course, those have all been adapted into a lot of films. But at this point, he's on stage, he's reading in front of a live audience, and then his annoying son, this little kid, comes out and he disrupts the entire event. And everything just continues to fall apart with the son and then the cat and then the other kids in the background. They're all behind the curtain. They're causing trouble. And Charles Dickens, he walks off and he is obviously upset. And this is so silly, but the biggest fault I had with this movie had to do with how this scene was handled. The very first scene, Charles Dickens, he's painted as the bad guy. He's painted as the bad father for disciplining his son in such like a harshless fashion. He takes away his little knife and he tells him that, you're not King Arthur, even though he keeps babbling that he's King Arthur. It was like, but in this, when this is happening and when he shuns his son, they play it as if he's a bad dad. He's bad. He shouldn't have done that. The son's okay. He should have went scot-free. Did you get that feeling?
Yeah, I would say that this scene actually did bother me, or like it kind of annoyed me to watch. I don't feel like it played out that well, and I was kind of like, why are we doing this?
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. He didn't really do anything wrong, but I mean, I like that it led into the story, but it feels like maybe they didn't have any ideas, so they just did it that way.
Yeah, maybe that's what it is. Yeah, I don't know. Right off the bat, that was kind of a concerning. It was just a little concern, just a little concerning element. So he ends up his wife, the his wife played like voiced by Uma Thurman, which you really can't recognize in this. She tells him, okay, why don't you tell him a story of forgiveness? He's like, okay, all right. I've been writing out this transcript for this the a child's like a retelling of Jesus' story for the eyes of a child. And he reads it to him and he takes him on this expansive journey. And something that was fun about this movie. So we're taken through Jesus's birth to his death, to his resurrection. And it's fun that we have these Charles Dickens and his son, they kind of play a role in the retelling as well. They hop in there, they interact with the characters to some extent. And it was fun seeing that. And I think something I really admired about this film was how the child, he asked a lot of questions that I think we all ask ourselves about what's happening here. How did he do this? How is this possible? Why did they treat him this way? Why? All of these things. And when he was asking those questions and Charles Dickens was explaining, I was like, yeah, I wanted to know that too. That's a reasonable question. These are questions I've asked myself and I continue to ask myself. And there was a part of me that learned some things watching this movie. And I think just seeing like Jesus's story retold, even just visually, like in a theater, it's powerful to see a visual representation. It's different than listening to it. Like if you're listening to audiobook of the Bible or somebody talking about it, or if you're just reading the Bible itself, if when you watch it and you see things, it has a different kind of gravitas to it. Wouldn't you say?
Oh yeah, I mean, it was very impactful for me, especially towards the end. I don't want to jump ahead, but just seeing the story of Jesus and all the instances recounted is really emotional and great. It makes you feel good. So like no matter how you do it, I thought it was really heartwarming. And I started to actually like the kid being there. At first, I wasn't sure, but then I was like, I actually like it. But I don't know. What did you think, Jackson, of like the boy? Because I feel like you are not sure about it.
I don't know. This movie, I think, in summary for me, I think this film is made for children. I think it's made for a younger audience primarily. I think adults can enjoy it. And I think there are a lot of there's some adult elements to this, adult content, of course, because it's a story, it's a universal story that everybody should know. The child definitely brought, I don't know, I guess he kind of softened up a lot of the grit in the story. And I think I enjoyed seeing him traverse through this sad story and being affected by that. You know, he's like a little what's a kind word I can use? He was a troublesome child at the beginning. And, you know, he's taken through the story. He's completely uninterested at first. He gets engrossed and he really cares about Jesus by the end of it. And it was a maturing tale for his character. And I think Charles Dickens, you know, I think what's special about this film and about this story, which is, you know, it's a summary of the stories of the Bible. It's based on the Bible, of course, and it's what happens in the Bible, but it cuts out a lot of stuff. I mean, it's a much more surface level retelling, but I think it's a perfect way for a child to be introduced to the stories of Jesus and the Bible. And I think for anybody, a child or even just somebody that's curious about it, this is a great introduction into learning about the Bible, learning about Christianity, about Catholicism, learning about the story of Jesus. And that was, I thought that was endearing, that it wasn't too deep. It didn't try too hard. I didn't think, and it wasn't really preachy. It's a story. And I think it's easy to fall in love with it.
Yeah. I think that's so funny though, because like when it finished, I was like, I feel like this is made for kids, so they do understand. So I love that you had that fact that it was like his intention. I think it's a great idea because it's like a good little snippet of Jesus's life in each situation for kids to really get familiar with. I would have loved to have this when I was little. Like, I think it would have been amazing.
Well, it helps having it in theaters too. You know, I mean, like, I don't honestly, growing up, I didn't have any desire to watch anything like this. And honestly, I don't really have much of a desire to watch anything like this at home right now anyway. I'd rather just listen to the Bible or read or listen to somebody explain something to me about it. I'm just not, I don't know. For me, Christian film is just, I guess maybe more like filmed about the Bible. It's just never been something I've pursued, which maybe this is kind of opening a door for that. I don't know. But having this in the theater, it's different too. I mean, there is a lot of legitimacy to this movie, and we're going to get into that later because this is a very legitimate, real film, and it deserves a lot of credit for what it's accomplished. And like I said, I want to get to this a little later, but I think there was almost like, I don't want to be so far-fetched to say it was a miracle, but I think God was really working in favor for this movie in one particular element, and I don't want to spoil it yet. And it's kind of obvious if you've been paying attention in the theater lately. But so, Cabot, you would say you have a pretty positive reaction seeing this, like out of the theater reaction. You liked it. Why don't you explain your thoughts and feelings?
I feel like I was a little bit had to warm up to it, but then about halfway through, I was really getting into the little arcs that they made, even with the father being irritated with the cat and like his son.
The cat was so annoying. Oh my gosh, I forgot about the cat for a second.
I like the cat. I think it's a cute little element.
Yeah, okay, I guess. I like cats, but
yeah, but I mean, like, his heart softened. He hated that cat, and then towards the end, he's like, maybe I've been too hard on this little animal, and Jesus holding the cat was pretty cute. I don't want to focus on the cat, but I like the elements that were surprising that they brought in that didn't really like necessarily go with Jesus' story, but it was nice to see in there. Like even when he lost the cat and they were outside, I think it was kind of a moment though.
Oh my gosh, the cat.
Seriously though, but it was like God helped them find the cat. I don't know, like, in life when God helps you with something you're stressed about,
Sure. Yeah.
That's the parallel I got from it.
That's a nice little comparison there. That's good. I think like if we're just to mention, like for me, out of theater reaction, I enjoyed the movie. I was pleased I saw it, and I'm thankful for the movie. I'm thankful that it's getting the attention it deserves, and that it's it's a big movie. I mean, my theater has a giant cardboard cutout like right next to Thunderbolts, right next to these other big movies, and movie posters in the theater. Uh, I've seen the trailers for this. I've been going to the theater for almost 2 months every single week straight, and I think 9 times out of 10, a trailer for this popped up in the theater, and it's just impressive. I can't believe I cannot believe how much marketing and publicity this film has gotten, and that's really amazing to me. I was really moved every time I saw the trailer. It was really a very heartwarming thing to see.
Yeah.
But like, oh crap, what was I going with that?
Getting a lot of clout, which is good.
Oh yeah. Okay, yeah. So Cloud's
Yeah.
good. I think negative wise, this film, we're gonna get into the cast later because it's another impressive element is how many big names they got into this. I mean, A, B, C level. All kinds of people that you really wouldn't expect that would be interested in joining this story about Christianity, the spawn of Christianity. But for them having this big star-studded cast, I think one thing is it's hard to notice who's who in this, like voice wise. I barely recognized any of them. And the second thing was they didn't sound very good, a lot of them. I don't think the voices really translated for me. And the worst yet is I Oscar Isaacs, who's Poe Dameron. I don't think I have a picture of him here, but Oscar Isaacs, who's Poe Dameron, he's also Moon Knight. He voices Jesus in this, and I think he did a really bad job. I
Oh
think
no.
I was really disappointed with him. I don't know what his deal was, but he did not give us a passionate performance. The voice, I thought it was flat and it was monotone, like me. At least I'm probably not even as flat as he was. And I think it was like, this is such an important character to play as. I don't know why you wouldn't give it your all. And maybe he was. It just didn't work. It didn't fit for me. And I think the trailers, I loved hearing his voice in the trailers. I thought I was moved every time I heard the voice of, Oscar Isaacs play Jesus in the trailers. But that was with, booming, powerful music that uplifts you and more elements thrown into the mix. And when it's just flat up him with the voice, it didn't really work for me. And that's probably the biggest disappointment was that miscast for Jesus's voice. Other than that, I loved that we got to see so many of these stories. I wish that we could have gotten a little deeper. I think these are all very heartful, moving, powerful stories because they're miracles. They're true miracles that have happened. And, we see it happen here. I don't think we get very much build up to it because we don't spend that much time with the other characters other than Jesus, and we really don't spend that much time with Jesus himself in this either. I feel like the focus for me, at least right out of the theater, was mostly on Charles Dickens and his son, which I don't think there's anything wrong with that, but I think they wasted a lot of time with those characters when we could have spent more time with Jesus and Peter. I think Peter here, who's on his right, who has the giant nose, he was my favorite. My favorite of like the side characters. I love his giant nose too. That was the other thing for me, like not as positive wise, is the animation. I love the look of it. Like, look at this. I mean, it's creative, it's fun, it's very unique, and it's moving. Like, look at that. I mean, isn't that a powerful image? But this image here, this is an expressive image. I thought that the animated characters, I think they were lacking in a lot of expression. I thought they were I think they were so, I mean, they look like they're made out of clay and their faces just didn't express very much. And I think that coupled with maybe more lackluster voice acting just didn't create very powerful performances that could have been more if it was done differently. Did you kind of feel the same way, or how do you feel about that?
I didn't feel completely the same way. Like, I do think that there could have been a little more umph with Jesus. I think he was leaning a lot into the like inner peace that Jesus had and just kind of saying everything very calmly, but
Mhm.
it played more like you were saying, like monotone. It didn't bother me particularly. I think the son was so expressive, but he was probably the most expressive. And Peter was my favorite as well, but also I love Forrest Whitaker who voiced him.
Yes.
So I was excited about him.
He sounded great. I thought of all the actors, I loved Forrest Whitaker. I thought he did a great job, and Pierce Brosnan as Pontius Pilate. I
Oh
thought he had a
gosh.
great voice. Um, I think maybe we should talk about this now because something that really moved me about this movie was the lead up to King of Kings. I think because we just barely highlighted the marketing for this has been beautiful and it's been insane. I I was just on board right off the bat. Amazing trailers, powerful, moving, incredible trailers. My gosh, I think the best trailers we've had all of this year have been for this movie. Every single one was great. I also followed this one on social media, and the King of Kings, Angel Studios, their Instagram, they posted like little interviews with the actors, and Pierce Brosnan in particular. He really moved me hearing about his passion for this character, and you get to see the behind the scenes of them working with it. And they also kind of like they played into like some of the Jesus memes, like I saw that, and like Jesus like giving the thumbs up. I was like, okay, I like this. But I think the marketing, what I believe to be something really special about this, and this is where it's like it's almost it feels like it's just larger than life in my opinion. And maybe it's just me, but I went and I saw Minecraft in IMAX last Thursday. And this was one of the trailers that played, King of Kings. And I don't know if they possibly could have anticipated how huge Minecraft was, but I think that the King of Kings trailer has played at every single one of those Minecraft showings. And that is the biggest movie in the world right now. That's the only film of all of this year that has really created a real buzz. And this trailer has been in the center of all of it. Everyone, millions and millions of people have seen this trailer because of that. And that's just to me that's just so heartwarming and inspiring to see that. I mean, I remember when I was watching Minecraft and this popped up and just being surrounded by so many people that probably are either not Christians or aren't familiar with the film or the story itself are, they have a little bit of awareness now. And who knows what that could lead to.
Yeah, I think it's got a lot of impact. Man, Angel Studios does have a lot of. I was thinking they have a lot of resources now. I was impressed. I know that you said we're talking about the animation, but I was impressed with what they pulled together for this film with the animation, and then even the backgrounds looked really epic in a lot of moments, and I enjoyed that. So yeah, I think a lot of people will go see it. My theater was pretty full. What was your theater like?
Yeah, mine was pretty full. It was a good helping. But I think it's gonna do well too. I think that's something that's like also nice is that, when all these Christian films, Christians show up, they show up for them. I mean, like Last Supper, when I saw Minecraft, I was surprised how many people when I walked into the theater, they were talking about Last Supper. They're going to see Last Supper, Last Supper, Last Supper. I thought you guys were here for Minecraft. You're gonna watch this? Oh, okay, cool, nice. Because they're playing The Chosen, like I guess they're premiering like all the episodes like in movie format. And I haven't really gotten into that show, but it was nice to see people are showing up for this stuff, and this will definitely do well. I'm curious about what the budget for this is, and I don't want anybody to think that I believe that this film is ugly and the animation's bad. The animation's great. They look beautiful, and I do think there are moving performances in this. I just think there could have been some simple changes that could have helped. And like I said, I think most of it has to do with the voice actors more than anything else, which is like sad because I think the writing was great. The great dialogue. I think Jesus, I loved hearing him speak every time he spoke, just what he was saying. And I love following I love following a simplified story of what the Bible says. It was enlightening to me because I think so it's easy to get mixed up in so many stories and so much content, and this makes it easy to understand. It's simple. I like simple. I don't always want to deep dive into everything. This is a great simple tale that highlights the central themes of Christianity.
Yeah.
And it also knows how to tackle like serious issues or serious situations, like here, being uh, being tormented. Jesus being tormented by the people wishing to crucify him, and of course, when they get to the crucifixion, the agony in the garden when he prays before he's taken by the Romans. It knows how to bounce around, how to handle a lot of different topics, and it doesn't shy from being somewhat brutal. I think it's very much so censored. I read somewhere it was like some like decent, like admirable critic. They wrote that this is like a a suitable replacement for Passion of Christ for children, instead of just skipping right to that.
It is.
So yeah, I imagine I've only seen clips of that. I need to watch that one as well. But
Yeah. I was actually, you haven't seen Passion? Oh.
I need to watch that.
Oh, you gotta watch it. I cry through the whole thing, but it's really amazing. I was wondering how much they were going to show with the crucifixion. I thought they did. I mean, it's kind of heavy still. I was thinking
Hmm.
about that with the kids because it's like he's still dying on the screen here. They kind of like implied more so him getting nailed and didn't really show that, which I think is good because that would have been heavy.
Hmm.
But yeah,
Yeah.
I think they did a great. They handled it well, so I think it's great for kids with in that regard. And then what was I gonna say though? I kind of like it's like I wish, like you said earlier, that they would retell all these stories on a more massive scale. Because I don't know, have you seen Prince of Egypt?
No, I've been hearing about that a lot. I just watched Heat the other day, and some people in the chat were talking about how they loved Prince of Egypt, and Val Kilmer was Moses.
Oh my gosh,
So
you have to watch Prince of Egypt next. It's so good. Like it's amazing. Now that's a
okay.
good example of sitting in one of these stories and really telling it out and letting it breathe. And that's what this movie reminded me of, but it was like so quick for each one, which is fine. They were going to do it this way, they did it this way. So.
I guess that's what I guess that's what The Chosen's for. I mean, it's fleshed out, right? Fleshed
Mhm.
out retelling of a lot of the little things in the Bible and the story of Jesus. I mean, that show. What are they? It's like an hour-long episode, and there's like 10 episodes a season, isn't there? And there's a lot of seasons.
Yeah, I'm kind of bummed that I didn't start watching that in the theater because like I feel like it's gonna go before maybe
I know,
it's
that's cool.
yeah, we should go we should watch it.
Yeah, yeah, I'm down. See, the problem, I was thinking about watching it, but the I'm so late. Now they're at Last Supper. It's like I'm so far behind.
I know. Is it like episode 2 and 4 now, or are they still on 1 and 2? I don't know.
Oh yeah, well, I mean, I haven't even been watching the series.
Right,
And
right.
but yeah, and we are still behind because now it's like episode 2 or 3,
Oh yeah.
even of the new stuff.
Next season we gotta do
Yeah,
it.
next season. Okay, well, what do you think out of the film? What do you think were like your favorite elements? What do you think worked the best for this movie?
You know what I really liked? At the moment when his son said that he didn't need the sword because Jesus
Mm,
used the sword. And I think it was so cool because it was really pointing to the example that Jesus is, that you can follow that example. He was really inspired. He's like, I don't need a sword. Jesus never used that, you know?
hmm.
So he was going to follow what Jesus did, which was, he fought Satan with words from the Bible. So I thought that was really cool. That was probably my favorite of
That's
all.
cute. That was a nice little element. I mean, yeah, he was obsessed with that idea, and uh yeah, Jesus is a guy, no violence at all, just speaks his words, speaking truth, and has more power than, violence could ever. So
Mhm.
that's cool. I think for me, what was my favorite part? I really liked the baptism scene with John the Baptist. I don't know why. I think John the Baptist, I wish I had a picture because he looked really good in this. John the Baptist. Is he
Oh,
in
he
this?
did.
I
He's
thought he looked
there.
the most solid of all of them. And Caiaphas, I thought Caiaphas looked really good, who's the dude with the long beard to the right of Jesus in this picture.
Oh
And
yeah, his
he's
beard was
voiced by
really
Ben
good.
Kingsley, who I really like.
Oh, Ben Kingsley.
Yep,
Wow.
Ben
I did not
Kingsley.
know that.
And then, you know, to his left, the bigger guy, the short dude with the beard, that's Mark Hamill.
Oh yeah, I mean that's why do I
I
feel
thought
like
he
that's a good
sounded good. Mark
Yeah,
Hamill sounded good. He, you know, he is a voice actor too, obviously.
he
I
is.
thought he sounded a lot better than some of these other ones. But um
Yeah, he worked well for that character. I don't know why I was like, yep, that works.
uh I think
Yeah,
let's see.
I'm looking at the character
Other
sheet.
than that, I think overall I was just pleased. I was pleased to see a light tone, a lighter tone,
Hmm.
but understandable. I think overall, just from start to finish, it's an easy watch. It's an easy watch. It's not too grim, but you it's a great way to just introduce your kids to this story. Let's
Yeah,
talk about let's talk about the cast real quick because this is, I mean, this is pretty remarkable. This is a Christian film, and they have a lot of big names here. They have Pierce Brosnan, Oscar Isaacs, Ben Kingsley. Ben Kingsley is big. Mark Hamill. I bet everybody watching is wondering why he wanted to get involved with this because
I know.
he's an interesting person. Interesting person. Kenneth, not Kevin. Kenneth Branagh. I mean, he's pretty famous too. Uma Thurman, Forrest Whitaker. Forrest Whitaker was awesome in this.
He
I
was
loved
the best.
him. Something funny was, I don't know, she's not listed here. Did you ever watch the Clone Wars? I can't remember if you told me.
I watched a few episodes, but I'm working into that one because
Okay,
people keep
so
telling me to.
there's a witch in it. Her name's Ventress. She's like
Okay.
a Dathomir witch, and she's like kind of like the opposite of Darth Maul. They like come from the same world,
Oh, nice.
and she's like a Sith. She has a very distinct voice, and in this movie, she is the voice of an angel, and it's the funniest thing. I noticed it
What?
immediately, and I was like, "Oh crap, is that Ventress talking?"
That's
So she played it well, but it was very strange for me. I'm like, okay, I'm used to her playing a much different character. That was like the big shock for me watching this.
Yeah, I like the way they portrayed the angel though in this. It was like an angel of light. You couldn't it wasn't
Mhm.
distinguishable. I thought that was pretty cool. I felt like it was accurate.
I think something. So my question, like looking at this cast, because I was looking up like who's actually Christian here, and there's quite a few here that aren't. I was definitely curious about Ben Kingsley because he sort of he plays kind of these religious characters sometimes, but he's not Christian. He has, I think he's a Quaker, it said, which I'm not too familiar with. But you know, I don't imagine any of these guys were paid a lot for this, so I'm curious about what exactly drew them to take this, you know, to do these roles. You know,
Yeah.
a lot of these guys are Star Wars: The Clone Wars voice actors. James Arnold Taylor, he's the voice of Obi-Wan Kenobi. D. Bradley Baker here, who I
He
guess
was the
voices the
cat.
cat. That's funny. I would never have guessed that.
I
He he was all the clones in the series, and then Vanessa Marshall, she was the voice of Hera in Star Wars Rebels.
Oh, very cool.
I think that's it for all the voice actors. Oh, and Jim Cummings. Jim Cummings. He's Winnie the Pooh, and he's also, which is not Star Wars clearly, but he's Winnie the Pooh, and he's also Hondo Onaka in the Clone Wars and Rebels as
Okay.
well.
Very
So I like seeing them, but I think something that was like
cool.
what something that I appreciate about this cast, and normally I really could care less about a cast, especially like voice actors, but I think having like bigger names like this, it sort of gave the film a little bit more legitimacy. Like
Mhm.
this is a big budget movie. This is a
Yeah,
serious film that deserves some respect. Wouldn't you say?
it would. Well, I looked up the budget. It was 7 to 8.5 million, which is
Wow,
pretty
that's
decent.
it. That's
Yeah.
insane.
Well, for the animation too, like I can't imagine like paying the animators.
Wow,
Yeah. And
that
then the
is
cast.
amazing.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Pretty impressive. I don't know. I mean, some of them had to have been passionate about doing it, or maybe they wanted to do something their kids would see, because there's not a ton of that these days.
No,
I
no.
mean, there's getting to be more. I know you really love the animated stuff, and there's more coming out, but I don't know. Yeah. And I think Forrest Whitaker, did you look up whether he was a believer or not?
No, oh wait, I did, and I don't think it had an answer for me. Like it didn't
Uh,
know.
okay.
But yeah, I know I'm curious about that. He was awesome in this. My gosh, he was the voice of Peter. I just immediately recognized him. I'm like, oh, this is awesome.
I know. He's such a talented actor.
Yeah, I mean, these guys, they must have like clearly they couldn't have been paid very much for this.
No, not
I
not.
wish I could be a voice. Angel Studios, can I be a voice? Can you consider me for the future? That'd be awesome.
Yeah, get
I
into
think
voice acting. It's fun. I like.
yes. Have you done voice acting?
I have. Yeah, I've done
Oh
some for
crap.
little commercials and advertisements and stuff. It's fun because you can be really expressive with your face and it projects, but no
Uh-huh.
one's gonna see it, so you can look crazy.
I was like, so something funny. I don't have an image of it, but when they showed like the behind the scenes footage of these guys or like Pierce Brosnan doing his lines, it looked like a very what's the word? Like handmade, like little recording studio look. It was not like a big professional grade studio. And I kind of like that. It was kind of sweet to see. It's like this is this is grounded. It's a grounded story, and a
Yeah.
grounded creative team. Something also interesting is the director who did this. I believe he directed it and wrote the screenplay. This was
Wow.
his first film he's ever done.
Really?
Yeah, I was looking at his credits and I couldn't find anything.
Oh wow. Well, that's
I know, isn't that
impressive.
interesting? Yeah.
I mean, I think
So,
I do think the film had a nice impact to it. Like I was thinking about my relationship with God as we went further into it, and like how much I love Him, and like so I think it's cool. I think it's good for adults in that regard, and then it introduces kids. So
yeah,
I
I'd
think
say
it
so
has a nice,
too.
nice
Hmm.
impact to it.
So, Cami, before we log off, would you say that you recommend King of Kings to our viewers?
Yes, I heartily recommend it. Actually, at first I thought it was going to be too kiddie and a little corny, and I was like, I don't know. But midway through, like I said, I got really into it, and I loved it. So yeah, I would
What would you
recommend it.
what would you give it out of 10?
I would give it an 8 out of 10.
8. Okay, that's sweet. Good. I
Yeah.
think for me, I definitely recommend it too. You don't even need to be a Christian to watch this. If you've ever been curious about what Christians are always getting on about, or what Christianity is, who Jesus is, then this is just a great entry into the story. A really solid entry to understand a surface level. Oh crap! Whoa! What's this? Is this
What?
like official?
Oh, what?
Whoa, please
I
be
don't know.
official. If this is official, we love you, Angel Studios. We
Yeah,
love you. My gosh. I was on open bar, Angel Studios, and I ring your name every time.
I
If you're
heard it.
real,
I heard it. It
man,
was a great
we
film.
love your work. We love your work. That was a good surprise. Um,
Really cool.
Gosh, you threw me off, Angel Studios. You threw me off. Definitely worth your time though. Great entry, a lot of fun, and your kids are gonna love it. Your
Yeah.
kids are gonna love it, and it's kind of, it's just it's upbeat. It makes you feel good. It's a feel good movie, and you better understand yourself by watching it too. It's like you see yourself in these characters. We've all been in a place of one of the disciples. We've all been in a lot of these characters' shoes. Even sometimes the bad guys, we've been in their shoes before, and no matter what, Jesus forgave. And that's like the central theme of this whole movie is forgiveness and mercy too. And that itself as a theme is not touted in anything anymore. So simply just to take your children to find some good role models that resemble high quality values is worth checking this film out for.
Yeah.
But as always, thank you guys for checking us out. If you liked what we had to say today, please make sure to leave a thumbs up and subscribe to both of our channels. Check out Let's Tune In Here. Oh, I always mix it up. Let's Tune
I
In
know.
Here, Cami. She does very similar stuff to me. She likes to do reactions, movie reviews. She's always upbeat and happy. It's good to be happy. As bad as things are, it's good to be happy and to
It
try
is.
to enjoy the small things in life. So if that's something you're interested in following, check out her channel. Are you working on like anything coming up on your side?
Well, I'm gonna do a review for this, and then I went to see Drop yesterday, so I'm gonna review that and get it up this weekend. But yeah, other than that, just live streaming Daredevil. And thanks for having me on again, Jackson, because this is really fun talking about King of Kings. I really enjoyed this.
Yeah, me too. Yeah, thank you so much for joining me. And thank you all for watching us. We appreciate you, and we'll see you next time.